Hello again, and welcome to another edition of This Week in Wabash on this Friday, the 13th in November of 2020. Yep, Friday the 13th. Mayor Scott Long is going to join us on this show on a tape-recorded information session that we had on Thursday morning about the mask mandate. So Mayor Scott Long will join us about that. Also, Downtown Bucks, Andrea Zwiebel will join us and tell us more about downtown Wabash and how you can purchase Downtown Bucks. We'll also talk to Aaron Hayden and Mike Kefauver from Metropolitan School District of Wabash County and their Technology Information Department, plus Honeywell's Music Together, short little video to explain that. And, well, a week from tonight, on Friday, November 20th, what's going on downtown? Well, there's not necessarily a big event because of COVID, but there is a virtual event. We'll tell you more about that coming up on this week's show. So stick around. I'm Wade Weaver. Andrea Zwiebel will join us in a little bit here on This Week in Wabash.
All right, boy, this reminds me so much of back in March and April when we talked every morning because we had to hear what was going on. Well, the governor gave us a little update yesterday. I still think that you are clairvoyant, Mayor. You had an idea this was coming, didn't you?
Yeah. And like the governor, what I was thinking was data-driven.
Yeah.
Looking at the positivity rate and the increase in COVID numbers locally. We talked about it last week, Wade. We're going to be over 1,000 positive cases before the end of this month. And it's just worrisome to me. It's affecting, I've got people still out there saying what sounds like a threat to everybody to wear a mask. Well, okay, now wait a minute. Obviously, you haven't been affected personally by this. I've got, talked about my older brother and sister-in-law, positive for COVID, sick. Multiple employees now this week at the city of Wabash who are positive. Multiple employees who are quarantined because a spouse or a loved one that they are in close contact with on a daily basis are positive. So that's what's driving me, and that's what, I'm concerned about my employees. I'm concerned about everybody in this community, and quite frankly, I think the people out there they're refusing to wear their mask and still think this thing, COVID's a joke, are quite frankly selfish. And it just drives me nuts, and it makes me lose sleep at night. It just drives me nuts. And the governor came out yesterday and he says, hey, okay, here's what we're going to do. Dr. Box came on and said, any Orange County, which is a majority of the state, no group gatherings over 50 people. I think they might have should have tightened that a little bit and made it down to 25. And then the red counties, no groups bigger than 10. And that's my personal opinion. I still think you have an opportunity for a lot of spreading when you get into groups of 50 people.
Yeah.
So
now churches are exempted, right?
Yeah, and I want to reach out to the Wabash Ministerial Association and say, hey, yeah, you're exempt, but let's be smart about it. Require masks. I would go groups under 50. We've gotten very good at having church services virtually. Continue to do that and encourage your parishioners to join virtually from the comfort of their own home. Don't take a chance. And they said yesterday, if you're going to be singing in church, do so with your mask on. Probably still not the best idea in my opinion, but I'm not a doctor, but I think common sense needs to rule the day here.
All right. So you talked about data driven. You kind of got a group of people together, some of the downtown merchants together. You've also been working with Grow Wabash County to talk to some of the other businesses in the area. What was your message to those folks earlier this week?
Well, I wanted to gather them all together. I look at the stats the last 2 days, and let's think about this. We had, for 6 months, 276 positive cases in Wabash County. In the last 2 days of reporting alone, we had 104 positive cases. 60, I believe it was 64 the day before yesterday, and yesterday 40. So I'm like, all right, let's get everybody together. We've had 643 positive cases, and oh, by the way, 8 deaths in the county since October 1st. I had a conference call with Dr. Box and 60 plus government leaders, county health officers, health officials from the Parkview and Lutheran Health System on Tuesday evening that I was invited to, and we were on the Zoom call, and we all. A lot of people were begging the governor to, hey, we need to dial this thing back, was the message that they were sending to Dr. Box, who basically turned around and said, it's imperative that the local leaders do everything they can to enforce this mask mandate. So that's why I called the meeting of the downtown merchants. Fantastic group of people within I think we sent a message out at 8:30 and said, hey, we're going to meet at Charlie Creek in the outdoor plaza at 10 o'clock. And I basically told them, said, hey, we're not going to have, 4 members of our health department cannot go out and enforce this mask mandate. They've got flu shot clinics are running right now, various other things dealing with COVID. Just not the people to do it. I said, we have to be personally accountable as business owners and require people coming into your business to wear a mask. I know you don't want to do it, but the key is if you want to stay open, this is your livelihood. If you want to keep your business open, we got to get control of this thing.
And that's the main thing. Now, let's talk about it. You had mentioned 8 deaths since October 1st in Wabash County. Are those new deaths?
Yeah.
Those are new.
7. We had 7 up to that point. We're now sitting at 15.
Wow. So Wabash County had 8 deaths since October 1.
Yep.
More. Okay, I got you.
Yep.
Now let's get back to the businesses then. So the governor kind of basically said the same thing that you talked about a couple of days ago. What are the, I guess, legalities of that? Can the health department is supposed to be charged with going in and making sure that everybody in a business has a mask, or how's that work?
They've said that from the beginning.
Right.
Local health departments should be the enforcement authority. The issue is, and this was brought up on the conference call, nearly every county, except obviously Allen County, the bigger counties, health officers that were on the call are like, I only have 3 or 4 personnel.
Yeah.
I don't have the staff to go out because it is flu season and everybody's doing flu shot clinics and everything else. So it's extremely difficult for that staff to be able to do that. And you and I have talked about personal accountability time after time. Well, now that's fallen on the customers and business owners to take control of this.
So they can refuse service if it's just like shoes and shirts. They can refuse service if they want to, if you don't wear a mask, right?
Absolutely.
Okay,
it's their business.
Yeah,
it's their business. You can't go in there and tell them how to run their business.
Right.
And if you get and here was the other The other thing that you can do, if you have super spreader locations, is what they're calling them, but basically bars, restaurants with bars. Stage 5 didn't say you can go in there and not mask, not socially distance. Yeah, I read back through it yesterday. You're still supposed to be socially distanced at bars, 6 feet between tables in restaurants, and masks when you enter, and preferably masks when you're not eating or drinking. You can't be sitting shoulder to shoulder at bars. Now, they said, if you have offenders in your community, give us a call. We'll get a hold of Department of Homeland Security at the state level, and the state fire marshals will go out and basically, like they do a fire inspection, they'll go in and inspect and make sure you're following the guidelines that have been set out. That's one of the issues, and the governor talked about it. When we went into stage 5, everybody just took that as, okay, we're back to where we were. No mask, we can go out, we can go in the bars, we can do everything like that. And that's not what the guidance said. Okay. So that needs to be reiterated, reinforced. I get people that point fingers at certain establishments, and I'm like, well, you talk to the business owner and say, hey, this isn't right. I would rather a customer go to an owner of a bar or a bar and restaurant and say, hey, I don't think this is right. And it's your choice to go in there. If people aren't following the guidelines and there isn't 6 foot of social distancing or more between you and the next person, then go somewhere else where they're following those guidelines.
Yeah. I had a call, wanted me to ask you, like when you go to a grocery store or Walmart or Kroger or whatever, and you walk in and it says mask required. They got those signs, mask required.
Yep.
And then 2 people are walking in behind them with no masks. And, Mayor, what can you do? When are you going to take care of this? Why won't they just shut this down? What's going on? So what do you do?
Well, you don't. I'll tell you, personal experience here is what I do. Obviously, I don't want to shut any business down, nor do I think I have the authority to say, hey, you need to shut your doors down because these 2 people weren't wearing masks when I came in.
Right.
That's not the point. Okay, so if I go into Kroger's or Beckles or Walmart, which I've been in all 3 in the last week,
right,
and there's somebody in front of me who is not masked up, I will wait until they move off, and I stay 6 feet away from them with my mask on.
Right.
I protect myself. We're encouraging business owners to require masks and tell people, hey, if you don't want to wear a mask, I need you to go to another store. Counterproductive to what a business owner is in business for. Obviously, you don't want to lose a sale. Excuse me. But what's the alternative? You don't have any customers to come to your store if people continue to get sick and have to quarantine. That's my answer.
Yeah.
A, I stay away from them. B, it's not the mayor's responsibility to tell everybody to wear a mask. I got some hate mail because of the meeting I held. Well, that sounds like a threat. Take it however you want it. It's not a threat. It's common sense. I'm trying to get people, we're trying to come out the backside of this thing without losing any more lives. People are going to get sick with this thing. I understand it. I read a story last night online about Bob Siegel, the investigative reporter at Channel 13 in Indianapolis, who contracted it in October. And he laid out his experience. Has no idea where he got it. He was doing everything right. It's a pretty interesting read if you can find it online.
Okay.
So, I thought it was tough back in the spring, Wade.
Yeah.
It's tougher now.
Yeah, I bet. Well, it's tougher now because we've opened things back up, and the business has suffered for a while. I always think of the small businesses. You do too, and so we're trying to keep them open. A lot of it's their livelihood. It's how they feed their kids. It's how they do all of this. I get it, and so and I think to reiterate your point is we don't want the governor to do any more shutdowns. We don't want nationally to do shutdowns. Let's do what we can locally. If you could, please just wear a mask. That's basic it, right?
Absolutely. And even within the businesses, you still need to maintain 6 feet social distancing.
Yeah.
Watch your capacity in these smaller shops downtown. Don't let so many people in that they're shoulder to shoulder. You may have to limit access to your business. Hey, I can fit 5 or 10 people in here. Once we hit that, if you want to come in, you're going to have to wait outside until somebody leaves.
Yeah. I was in a business near the bathroom, blown away by people coming out of the bathroom not washing their hands. I'm not even just talking COVID. I'm talking about just general hygiene. What are we doing here?
Let's not go there. Wade,
yeah, okay.
Please.
Okay, I won't, but it's the truth. Okay, so as far as restaurants, bars, and all that kind of stuff, is it clear, or are we waiting on the exact executive order to find out what's happening here? Are they going back to 50%? Are they going to 70%? What are they doing?
Well, I haven't seen that, and I'm waiting for the executive order. I just went back. I went back to the stage 5, back on track, and looked through the guidance of what it said.
Right.
I guess first and foremost, we need to make sure we're following that guideline. I think we've gotten away from it in some locations. Maybe some of them are. There are places in town that I don't go into.
Yeah.
Occasionally, I'll go into Harry's for lunch or whatever, but I don't know what's going on in the evening hours.
Right.
So how are they doing? I don't know.
Well, big question too is a big part of their business is, and a lot of others is the night before Thanksgiving.
Oh man,
that's good.
And Dr. Box brought that up yesterday. The kids coming home from college. She's concerned about it because she knows that night before Thanksgiving, not only here in Wabash, but in every community in the state,
right,
all those college students want to get together. They haven't seen each other since they started school or whatever, and they want to catch up. Well, not a good idea.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, we'll see what the executive order does, because will there be a statement, I guess, that you can't have more than 50 people in your restaurant either. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So we'll see.
And if I owned a restaurant, I might want to go ahead and say, all right, we're going to cut back to 50% capacity until this thing kind of drills down. I'm going to go back to curbside pickup. And that's the other thing. I encourage everybody, hey, order carry out from Harry's, order carry out from Market Street,
right?
Wherever. Take it upon yourself to do it safely.
Right. Yeah.
We did it before,
right?
And we flattened the curve. Well, now we need to do it again tenfold.
Yeah.
And see if we can flatten the curve again.
Okay, we had the testing center. A lot of folks went and took advantage of that. Is there any more testing in Wabash right now?
Well, Parkview's always had testing out at the walk-in clinic.
Okay, see, I was told yesterday that they couldn't unless they had symptoms.
Well, and I think that may still be the case.
But the governor wants us all to get tested.
Well,
I mean, did you hear him yesterday? He said, I encourage you all to get tested. So, I don't know. Thought that was interesting.
I'm 4 for 4 and negative on all 4.
Yeah, good for you.
And I only, I had potential exposure. That's why I went and got tested. It wasn't that I was symptomatic. And here's the medical community is saying now that if you have exposure, you may not show symptoms for anywhere between 5 and 10 days. So let's say somebody calls you and says, hey, I got to let you know I tested positive. You probably should go get tested because we were hanging out. Well, if it's within 3 to 5 days, you may not come back positive, but 2 days later, you may develop symptoms. So I'm not sure about rushing out. My last test, I got tested, it would have been 5 days post potential exposure. Unfortunately, since then, I haven't felt symptomatic or had any symptoms. So that's the other aspect of it.
Okay. Well,
there's still testing available at the National Guard armories for free without symptoms in both Peru and Huntington. There's a site in Marion. That's all through OptumServe. Honestly, I got my results back quicker from them than I did State Department of Health drive-through, which was the last one I did. But that last test, they get the award for kicking the field goal pretty deep on that one.
I felt violated, I heard, yeah.
Yeah, it's a little uncomfortable, but, I'm a little more confident that, that test was done the way it should have been done, by the way they did it and how deep they went, I guess is the only way to put it. But,
is there anybody testing antibody testing?
I'm not sure about that. I got, early on, I had police and fire department, city employees tested for antibodies probably back in June, but I coordinated that with our insurance company and LabCorp. They came and did our employees, and all of them were, at that point, were negative.
Okay.
For the antibodies, so they hadn't had COVID. But there again, Wade, not being a medical expert, how accurate is that test? I don't know.
Yeah. All right. Well, we'll get that information if that comes out. But all right, Scott. Well, I hate having to have these discussions, but it is what it is, and I'm sure once that executive order comes out, we'll find out more how stringent it is.
Yeah, and I don't expect it until Friday morning. Honestly, that's why they've all been falling into my email.
Yeah.
Typically, it's he's held his Wednesday press conference, and if a new executive order comes out, we typically see it Friday morning. Maybe they'll push this one out a little quicker due to the positivity rate throughout the state, but yet to be seen. So. Once I get that, I'll digest what it says, and maybe we can get some more information out.
All right. Appreciate it, Scott. Thank you. Get back to your other Zoom meetings.
Sounds good. Thanks,
right.
Wade.
Thanks.
Our daily lives have changed. And while we're all doing our best to keep physically apart, Music Together teachers are bringing people together through virtual music classes.
We're making music together online in homes all across the world. Families are singing and dancing. And best of all, they're doing it together.
It's beautiful. It's that one special part of our day that is designated just for having fun. And I love that we're not just watching a screen, we're actually playing along with the music, right along with the teacher.
For more than 30 years, Music Together has been laying the foundation for a musical life for millions of children worldwide.
We're on a mission to make the world a better place by making it more musical. That's never been more important than it is right now.
Hi, I'm Andrea with Wabash Marketplace, and I want to tell you all about Downtown Bucks. If you haven't bought these before for your holiday shopping, then you've been missing out. The Bucks are like vouchers you can use anywhere in downtown Wabash for your holiday shopping. If you buy them here at Visit Wabash County in person, you get this awesome little gift set with a plastic tumbler, and then your Bucks come in an envelope here. If you buy them online this year, that's a new feature. We can ship them anywhere that you want. So you can go on wabashmarketplace.org and look for the Bucks. They're sold in $10 increments. And then once you get the Bucks, they look like this. And again, they're in $10 increments. You can spend them anywhere in downtown Wabash, and they're valid until the end of March of 2021. So stop in to Visit Wabash County and buy your downtown Bucks, or go online at wabashmarketplace.org and you can buy them online.
My name's Raymond Daniels, and I manage the Reading Room bookstore here in downtown Wabash. Our store has been here for many, many years, and at one point in time, the name of the store was Mason's Books. John Mason was the proprietor. It's been through another couple ownerships, but currently Marvin Desiabus is the owner, and I'm the individual that runs the store each day. Our store has actually what used to be 3 storefronts, so we have 3 large rooms full of books. We also have 2 attics, 3 basements, and a plain dealer building full of books. We are estimated at close to 500,000 books here at our store. Our store is also an Amazon seller, and we have sold multiple books on Amazon. In fact, we have now sold to every state in the United States, including a military installation. It is a big part of our business, and a part that I really enjoy, because we have so many different types of books that we can get out there, and we fill a niche, I believe, that would otherwise not be filled. I'm so glad that our bookstore is located in a vintage downtown area. It just seems to add more charm to the bookstore, and charming is to me, one of the best words that you can use to describe an old bookstore like ours. We have books on all genres. Anything you're looking for, we'll have a book on it somewhere.
Today at MSD of Wabash County, we have Mr. Aaron Hyten, who is our Director of Information Technology. Good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Kiefer.
So the first time I met you, this was in 2008. I became the principal at White's Junior Senior High School, and I believe you were working, or at least starting to be your senior year in college, and you're doing your internship at White's a lot of years ago. Seemed like that has been a lot of years ago.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I had the privilege of doing an internship with my dad at White's. He's the IT manager there and has been for a very long time. So I had the privilege of cutting my teeth there at White's.
Okay. And when I was there, you helped me out with a lot of things. And obviously now at MSD of Wabash County, you help us make sure that our infrastructure and everything really works well. And I know you're going to talk about a lot of that. So just tell us a little bit about your path of becoming the Director of Information Technology.
Sure. I started here in July of 2009 as the network engineer under Barry Conrad and Lucy Dundor. I had the privilege of working with Lucy for a year and Barry for 2 years. Shortly after that, I became the director myself of information technology. And then kind of from there, I started working on just putting all kinds of new technology in, starting with our one-to-one program and things like that. And then shortly after that, I had the privilege of also becoming the Director of Information Technology for Wabash City Schools. So it's been a been a good road for me. I'm very privileged to be able to work in the community that I grew up in. So I'm very, very blessed to be able to call Wabash my home.
And we're glad that you are here. Earlier, before we came in this room and starting to do this segment for This Week in Wabash, we went to the server room. And so you could see some of the pictures on this segment, but tell us a little bit about what we saw in that server room.
We have here at Southwood High School is at the server room here at Southwood High School is the main room for both MSD of Wabash County and Wabash City Schools. It is the main central place where all of the information comes in and goes out. So all of our buildings across both districts come back to Southwood High School, and we have all of our servers in there, and yeah, it's where the magic happens.
Okay. So some people don't know, and I know when we talked to Wade here earlier, really not knowing about your collaboration, your position here at Wabash, MSD of Wabash and Wabash City Schools. So tell us about that a little bit as far as how that all worked out and how you are working for both school districts.
I'm not sure what the year was, but I think I've been at Wabash City for about 7 or 8 years now. But Dr. Weaver and Mr. Callahan came to an agreement and asked if I'd be willing to work with them as far as the infrastructure is concerned. And it was a good opportunity for both schools. We basically get to split the cost of a lot of things. That is things of the server and switches and things like that, wireless. But any kind of licensing agreements, we get to split those costs. So it's a definite benefit for both districts to be able to share in those costs. It's been a good collaboration over the years, and I hope it continues.
Okay. It's awesome to see all the technology in there and how that works. I don't know anything about it, but there's a lot of wires, a lot of boxes in there that make everything work, and it does work very well here at our school as well as Wabash City. So how have you seen the ways technology is used within our schools change over the years? I know that, with the phones and with computers, it seems like every time we purchase something new, it's outdated in just a few days. But tell us a little bit about all those changes.
Yeah, some of the changes you're going to see around the district over the last, I've been here 12 years, so we've had lots of changes, but some of the more recent changes you're going to see is our students now have iPads. We made the switch last year to switch to iPads for our students. Our iPads have keyboards and styluses with them. It's been a big change for both teachers and students, but I think it's been a good change overall. I see a lot more mobility. I see kids doing a lot more with them than we were able to do with the MacBooks, and we feel it's the best technology that we can put in our students' hands. So one-to-one changes. We have also changes in our classroom. We have Apple TVs in all of our classrooms, so that allows for collaboration on a different scale. Each kid or teacher can take control of that and present right from their desk, and with the stylus that makes it a very nice to use. We also have lots of changes in the security realm. We have our Raptor system, which is a check-in system that checks people as they come into our building against a couple different databases. It's kind of like a small background check, if you will, against people coming into our building, so that we help protect our kids that way. We have always doing camera upgrades. We seem to add lots of cameras every single year. I think we're in the realm of between 80 and 100 cameras district-wide here at MSD. So a lot of information that way. We also, in the security area, we have mass communications. We brought on Remind for our teachers to use this year to help communicate with kids. We also have our system that you use on a semi-regular basis with our delays and cancellations and all those informations that go out. We also have, in the security realm, our filter that helps protect kids, and that's a big area and a big concern, I think, for both parents and teachers and administration, as well as keeping kids safe. We have all this technology. What are we doing to keep kids safe on a daily basis? I would say we have one system that scans all email to our students. whether it be from student to student or teacher to student. We don't allow outside organizations to email our students without getting prior approval. And then on top of that, that system also scans our email, our Google Docs and things for inappropriate content. We get lots of things, and that's called our Safe Mail program. And we also have a robust filter that keeps kids safe as they browse the internet as well, and gives us good reporting.
One thing you talked about, and I know that is just starting, is some fun things. Those are things that keep students safe. I know you've been involved with the esports, so can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, we started esports this year. We were going to start them early last spring, but obviously got a little derailed there. But yeah, we have 2 esports labs that just went in at both the high schools, getting a lot of interest from the students, and excited to see what they're able to do. I know they're going to be joining the Indiana Esports League pretty soon, and so I'm excited to see our kids be able to have that opportunity.
Okay. Sounds like a lot of great things that are happening here at MSD with the technology part, and I know this is my 36th year in education, and it seems like everything is improving with the technology, and so we just really appreciate all the things that you've done with that. I know the mass communication is one thing that you just mentioned. With the COVID-19, I did a little report for the school board a couple of weeks ago, and I think between March 13th, when we shut down school, to presently, we've had like 75 different communications to all of our staff, and without that, it would have been very difficult to do the old phone trees that we used to do to make that happen. And so a very good piece of technology that helped us a lot. So
absolutely.
So what advantages do you see our staff and students in the way technology is being used at MSD of Wabash?
Sure. I think one of the advantages you're seeing on a day-to-day basis as we go through the pandemic is being able to be versatile and be able to have a hybrid approach to how we do things. Being able to offer Zoom and Google Meets to those kids that may be out, offering that to teachers, and just being able to have reliable technology on a day-to-day basis is one of the things I feel like is most important in my job, is giving teachers and staff the ability to know that when they come into work that things are going to work the way they intend it to work. I can't imagine being able to come into work and not know if something's going to work on a day-to-day basis. So I pride myself, and so does our team, on just being able to provide great support and being able to fix things quickly and having just a minimal downtime, if any, and being able to have reliable programs. So I feel like that is our biggest advantage. Obviously, another advantage that we have is we have a tech person in all of our buildings, and that is a huge advantage. We have a great tech team, and I couldn't do my job without a great team like that. So I would say that as well. I have to pause, sorry.
Yeah, and I will say that you do have a great team, and it's very appreciative that we can come to school and to the offices every single day and making sure that our technology works. And I do know that you also work with a lot of outside vendors, and those outside vendors, of course, control some of the things that we're doing, but you work with them very promptly to make sure that we are connected so we can do the things that we need to do.
The technology that we use, both the apps and the programs that we use, give us great ability to do collaboration. I think back to the early days, how we used to run meetings and how students used to collaborate with each other. That has completely changed with our Google apps, and just being able to collaborate in different apps at real time and being able to see what others are doing, regardless of whether they're here physically or if they're at their home working. We can still collaborate and do things in real time, whereas we weren't able to do that in the past. And so I think that is another huge advantage that our students and staff.
And basically, being a very visual person myself too, talking on the phone is good, but yet seeing those documents and working together is very important. And especially with COVID-19 going on, there are some staff, some students that are quarantined, so they can see those items in real time. So that's great. So again, thank you, Mr. Hayden, for all the things that you do here at MSD of Wabash. And again, as always, at MSD of Wabash, dream big and work hard.
Hi, my name is Mitch Feiger, and welcome to the Wabash County Museum. I am the president and CEO of the museum. We have been here since 1999. So the museum really has become a gateway of the downtown, a large arts and culture venue. And one thing I always like to point out, we talk about small businesses and inventory. We have an inventory. We have 175,000 pieces in our collection that we care for. Those are as small as a newspaper clipping and as large as a fire truck. So when you come downtown, you're often greeted by our caboose and our fire truck outside the building. So even though we opened here in 1999, we've actually been collecting artifacts since 1923 in the basement of the courthouse. So this all started in the coal bin of the basement of the courthouse and has since kind of transformed and moved different places, and we're really thrilled to be here in downtown Wabash now. The building we're in right now used to be Sears and Roebuck, and so it was a retail location in downtown Wabash. It had went into some disrepair, and Mayor McAllen at the time donated the building to the museum, and we did a multi-million-dollar renovation, not only to save the historic structure, but also to do the state-of-the-art exhibits that are within the building. So we have 90 exhibits that welcome guests of all ages. So we're currently in the Den, our education space. This space speaks really well to kids under 8 years old. And then we have exhibits that speak to older adults, to more kind of intense researchers who want to come into the archives. And so one thing we've really been thrilled about is how we can engage families here in Wabash. And so for us, when I started at the museum, we wanted to make sure that we focused on more than just being inside our four walls, but how we could serve the community, how we could be a partner in downtown Wabash. And so we welcome about 20,000 guests a year. This year, of course, being a little bit different than a normal year. But when we welcome those guests in from throughout Northeast Indiana and really across the country as they come in to visit family and do research, we make sure they know there's great places to eat, great places to shop downtown. We have partnered with so many of those businesses to do events here at the museum as well, loan out our conference space, and we have just been thrilled to be a part of this family of small businesses in downtown Wabash. And so, as we move forward and as we keep looking at growing and attracting new people and working not just locally but regionally, we want to continue that relationship because it really is the heart of what makes Wabash Wabash is these small businesses. And as a Wabash native living here almost all of my life and now having 3 kids here, not only do they enjoy coming to the museum, but they enjoy shopping and eating and doing so many other fun things that there are in downtown Wabash. So make sure you come down, support downtown Wabash, visit the museum, shop, eat, and play.
As we all know, 2020 has been a very bizarre year. Even the lighting of the courthouse, an annual event in downtown Wabash, is going to be virtual this year. Hi, I'm Wade Weaver from 105.9 The Bash. And on our Facebook page, we are going to show you the lighting of the courthouse on November 20th, Friday night at 6:45. So start a watch party and make sure everybody in your family all over the country, all over the world, gets to see the Wabash Courthouse lighting. Again, that's coming up Friday, November 20th, and we'll do it at 6:45. There will be businesses open downtown, but the downtown holiday night to remember will not be happening this year because of COVID-19. But you can still watch the courthouse lighting live on Facebook, 105.9 The Bash. That's one of them, and several other pages as well. Join us November 20th at 6:45.
Put a mask on your face. You're not a disgrace. Keep from spreading germs all over the place. We are Wabash. We are Wabash.
Oh, Andrea and the crazy girls from Visit Wabash County and Wabash Marketplace. Thanks for tuning in to another This Week in Wabash. Join us next Friday, November 20th.